Hello everyone, my name is Christian, and with another update around the corner, it's time to talk about who you should pull in version 3.4 of Honkai Star Rail. For this update, we have, dear God almighty, too many characters coming up. With multiple reruns, some buffed characters, a completely new DPS character, and 2 collab characters all on the way, this one is gonna be a doozy, kids. Strap in, and let's begin. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing down below. We're finally within range of 10,000, and it would be awesome to hit it soon. I also have channel memberships that give you things like early video access and even account reviews. If you enjoy the channel, consider becoming a member today. Alright, back to the video. So, let's start with the elephant in the room. I just made an entire video about the buffed characters. I went over their ideal teams, their relative buffs with the info we had available, and how you want to build them. With that being stuff I would usually cover in these videos, I'll be covering these characters at the very end. And I'm going to tell you right now, it will not be in as good of detail as the last video. Since most of you probably already know a good bit about them, or have watched that other video, I just don't want to be redundant. Also, one note about Fate before we begin. These banners will not be available at the start of the update, since the actual collab starts sometime in mid-July. With these banners sticking around for longer than normal, that means you'll still have plenty of time to pull and decide if you want to pull. With that said, we can now move on to the big character of this update, our moody destroyer of worlds, Fäon. Fäon is a white-haired physical destruction 5-star. That sounds familiar for some reason. Ah well, the way Fäon works is genuinely unlike anything we've ever seen in this game before. He has an enhanced form like Firefly, a counter like Yun Li, the unique ult mechanic of Acheron and Fei Xiao, and is the true owner of the nickname Great White Hope. Sorry, TJ McConnell. NBA joke, sorry, I'll stop. Let's start with Fäon in his base form. The main thing you want to do with Fäon on the field is to use his skill as often as possible. Every time Fäon uses his skill, he will gain 2 Core Flame charges, which is how he activates his ultimate. He needs 12 charges total to activate his ultimate. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, the special program definitely alleviated that concern. Not only does Fäon start with 1 in every battle, but he has a unique way to earn more. Whenever he is the target of an ally's ability, he will gain another stack of Core Flame. Any ability works for this, so even something like Gallagher's skill will count as another stack of Core Flame. Fäon should have no trouble reaching his ult in most teams, and that is when the real terror begins. When his ultimate is activated, Fäon essentially turns into what if Sephiroth had 2 wings. In this form, all buffs he received will stay active as he's now fighting solo, meaning you can give him all the damage boost you need for him to be a nightmare to contend with. He gains immense power and has the power of 3 different titans at his disposal in this form. The power of the Creation Titan is a straight-on blast attack that's nice and simple, but will still hit hard. His second attack forces all enemies to attack him, and he will retaliate afterward, with the strength of the attack growing every time he's hit. This is the power of the Calamity Titan. Last but not least, when Fäon has used his first 2 abilities enough, he will gain access to his final ability, Star Death Verdict. This is a bounce attack that will absolutely decimate enemies, and if you wait until you have full Scourge stacks from using his other 2 attacks, this move will become even stronger. Think of it similarly to Argenti's ult, where you can use it early, or you can get a more powerful version by waiting. Fäon only has a limited amount of actions in this form before he transforms back to normal, but he'll never be gone from this state for too long. When his ultimate ends, Fäon gains back some of his Core Flame charges. In the special program, we see 6 return to him, which I doubt is the natural number, but that just means he probably has an excess limit like Acheron. Either way, 6 charges after just getting out of your ult is horrifying to think about, since he can very easily get targeted by allies twice and then skill to be right back at 10. Fäon is going to be one of the strongest characters in the game for a while going forward, and that's pretty easy to see knowing all this. While skill expression may not be as high as other characters, since you really need characters who will target him with abilities above all else, there is still going to be a lot of fun to be had there. If you're a new or old player, I can confidently say Fäon will work for you. Just like last video, I'll be doing the recommendation section for each character right after. So, you should pull Fäon if you like good characters. You don't have a more modern DPS, you have a lot of Harmony characters like Bronya, Sunday, Tingyun, or Sparkle, or you like running sustainless teams. Fäon is gonna be something, ladies and gentlemen. Be ready. So, who's running alongside Fäon, you might be asking? Well, we have yet another triple banner containing Sparkle, Sunday, and Tribby. These three characters are all Harmony characters, but serve wildly different purposes. I'll give you a general rundown of each, and afterward, give you the best situation for all three of them. Let's start with Tribby. Tribby is a Quantum 5-star who specializes in nuclear warfare. She increases damage dealt to all enemies on the field, and has a potent follow-up attack that can do great damage if you build her correctly. She also has the ability to increase max HP for your team, and will constantly gain energy from your teammates' attacks, meaning she has no need for speed. While definitely one of the strangest characters in the game right now, she is incredibly powerful at what she does. Next up is Sunday. This is the best action advancer in the game at E0. He gives your main DPS 20% crit rate, regenerates 30% of their energy, and gives a solid damage boost, all while being SP neutral or SP positive with his light cone. While this boost is worse than Bronya, in most cases, the additional parts of his kit more than make up for it, as well as Bronya's damage boost wearing off too quickly for characters who do consistent damage, rather than mainly big attacks. He's carved out a good role for himself in the game, and is almost essential in Aglaya and Jingyuan teams due to the massive damage boost he grants summons specifically. Last but not least, we have Sparkle. She is currently the worst of this trio, and it's not particularly close either. She's exceeded by Sunday in most places since her action advance is lower than the standard 100%, and her extra skill points only do so much when Sunday can also just regenerate them as quickly as he uses them. Honestly, after all that stuff on Penacony, this has gotta feel amazing for old mate Sunday, I gotta be honest. While Sparkle isn't the best nowadays, she still has uses, and especially for the new Fate character, Archer. Her buff is still potent, and she still offers something unique that almost no other Harmony offers with the skill point cap being increased. If you really want to boost up Sparkle though, she offers some of the best Eidolons in the game for those interested. I'm just gonna make mention of that real quick, just in case anybody was wondering. With those three done, let's talk about the general purposes. As of right now, Sparkle is in last place, but if you really want to use Archer, I would highly recommend Sparkle. She will be the best support for him, and it probably won't be close either. Now, as for Sunday, you should get him if you have characters that benefit more from his unique kit. Characters like Mighty love Sunday, but with a higher idol on Bronya, he can be far worse. For characters like Aglaya and Jingyuan though, he is almost a necessity to make the most of those characters. Lastly, for Tribby, you should get her if you have any of the HP scaling characters, or someone like the Herda. Jingliu, Blade, Mighty, and Castors can all benefit from her unique moveset, and she's overall just a phenomenal character and damage dealer in that support slot. She has basically no equal in what she does for her ideal teams. She's also the character out of all of these who cares about her signature light cone the least, which can be pretty nice in a big update like this. Alright, so thank God we finally hit the end of the first half of the patch. That means we can now look at the available 4-star characters and light cones on the premium banners. The 4 stars we have available for the first half banners are Tingyun, Yukong, and March 7th. First and foremost, Tingyun is a character every player should have if possible. She's a great substitute for a lot of Harmony options at E6, and still provides an incredibly strong attack boost even by today's standard. Yukong and March are extremely mediocre characters overall, but for Fäon specifically, this is actually a solid set of characters still. Yukong's buffs last in Fäon's ultimate, and for those who don't remember, Yukong has one of the highest damage boosts in the game on paper. March also has the ability to target Fäon, which can earn him another Core Flame stack. I would like to say, I am assuming that just any ability that targets works, even defensive ones. I feel like I'm right, but I just wanted to say that. As for Tingyun, yeah, Tingyun is amazing for him. Her ult and skill can both target him, giving him stacks. He has no energy, so the ult does get a bit wasted, but overall, these three characters are excellent pulling partners if you don't have a fully premium team for Fäon. Moving on to the light cones, yeah, these are not great. One of the boosted selections is a destruction cone, so Fäon can make use of that if you fail to get a signature, but it seems like the only cone that will be worth getting is the remembrance cone. This remembrance cone may not even be incredible, but this is purely because there are not many options for that path in the game right now, so getting whatever you can will be helpful. Alright, first half is done now, so we can move on to what everyone is waiting to hear about, the Fate collab. The official start date is July 11th, and that will be your first chance to acquire Archer and Saber. The collab has no official end date yet, but will at least last until version 3.6, so you'll have plenty of time to get these characters. Archer will be given out to all players for free though, so hey, at least you don't have to worry too much about him. Oh, but wait, I hear something. But what about his signature light cone, I hear you asking? Well, you can acquire Archer's signature light cone for free as well, if you spend 200 special passes during 3.4 specifically. I will say, this sounds like a lot, but I want to just kind of explain real quick. If you lose a 50-50 on any banner, you'll already be more than halfway there in most cases. If you already plan on getting a character and a light cone this update, honestly, I would recommend going that extra mile just so you can get a free light cone in the process. Alright, that was a bit of a preamble, sorry about that, but now we can finally start talking about the characters. First up, let's start with the character that everyone will get, Archer. Archer is a Quantum Hunt 5-star, and he is the one use Sparkle still has in the game currently. Let me explain. Archer's unique mechanic revolves around his skill. When Archer uses his skill, he will hit a single enemy for decent damage. The real perk of this skill comes from the fact he can use it again, and again, and again. He will consume 2 skill points with each use, but every use will also make the skill's damage even stronger. This will seemingly be your bread and butter with Archer, stacking skill points to burn them all at once to do maximum damage. On top of all of this, he also has a follow-up attack like any good hunt unit should. This follow-up goes off every time an ally attacks, and doesn't have a limit per turn either. Archer is limited to only 4 charges at a time, and can only gain them from his ultimate, but hey, that's still a lot of extra follow-ups regardless. There's nothing else to make note of that's peculiar or insanely different like Fäon. Archer is simply an absolute beast of a unit, whose damage dealing potential in single target scenarios will be incredible. So, you should pull Archer if you want Eidolons. He's a free character. You don't need to pull him unless you want to make him last longer. His light cone also being free with enough pulls spent means you should funnel all of your pulls into one of the other characters available at this time, or into the other star of the Fate collab, Saber. Saber is a 5-star Wind Destruction character, and seems to be the next addition to the High Energy Ultimate Club. While she seemingly has an absolutely massive energy requirement, she also comes with a pretty unique mechanic to alleviate this. Saber's talent is called Dragon Reactor Core, and this is what gives her Core Resonance, the key part of her kit. Core Resonance is directly linked to regenerating Saber's energy, and once she has enough of these stacks, she can use her skill to consume them all and regenerate enough energy to get her ult back. Her skill also gets a significant boost this way, increasing the damage of it proportional to her Core Resonance stacks. Beyond Saber fighting everything herself, her teammates can also regenerate stacks for her luckily. For every ultimate used by a teammate, Saber will get 3 stacks of Core Resonance, and a nice damage boost on top of that. All of this finally leads us to her ultimate ability, Excalibur. This will hit all enemies, and will also enhance her basic attack to a new one called Release the Golden Scepter. This attack not only hits all enemies, but can regenerate Core Resonance for Saber, meaning she can immediately get started on earning her ultimate back. All of this would already be great, but did I mention she also has a goddamn action advance built into her kit? Why? Why do we keep giving this to people? Oh my god! Sorry about that. But yes, Saber can immediately take action if she has enough Core Resonance to fully regenerate her ultimate using her skill. This character is unbelievably unique, while also still sharing a lot of similarities with a fan favorite character, the Herda. Players who love the Herda will probably find Saber pretty enjoyable to play as well, and with them wanting similar characters most likely, she could definitely be an option to consider. So, you should pull Saber if You like Fate, obviously. You want a good destruction DPS and don't want Fäon. You lack anything that hits wind enemies, or you have characters like Tribby and Sunday who will be a big help to Saber. Saber and Fäon being in the same update genuinely feels disgusting, but at the same time, damn, that is 2 whole cakes for players to pick from, with a 3rd cake for absolutely free. Pretty good update, I feel. With the Fate collab done, we can now move on to what is, in my opinion, the least interesting part of this update, the second half banners. On these banners, we have 3 characters for players to get: Firefly, Jingliu, and Blade. I'm gonna be honest here, guys. There is no reason to get Blade. If you don't have him, there's a chance you lose your 50-50 on a different banner and get him anyway. That chance isn't going away either. He will be in that 50-50 loss pool for as long as you want him to be. While I know this may aggravate some people, I've done another video already talking about the benefits of Blade and his new abilities. To keep this video more tame, I will be skipping Blade. So sorry, but I think the other 2 characters are a bit more worth talking about since they're also harder to get currently. First up is going to be the less interesting of the 2, Firefly. Firefly is a 5-star fire destruction character, and most notably is getting a new skin this update. Firefly is a break DPS that focuses on getting her ultimate to really do her damage. She has a massive energy pool that gets regenerated mainly by using her skill in her base form. When her energy is at max, using her ult allows her to enter the complete combustion state. She will unlock a blast skill and the ability to fire implants on any enemy you choose. Combined with Super Break, Firefly becomes an absolute force to be reckoned with. As a break character, she doesn't have much versatility to play around with though. While Boothill and Rappa can both benefit from at least some different teammates, Firefly has a pretty set-in-stone roster that makes her better. For those of you who really enjoy experimenting, you sadly won't find much of that here. So, you should pull Firefly if you really want a break unit right now. That is kind of the only reason to get her currently. Rappa is a higher performer right now because of her AoE capabilities, and with how good Fugue is for her. Break as a whole, however, is in a bit of a down period right now. None of the characters are going to be your best option for any of the game modes, so I would really only get Firefly if you just want access to the archetype. It is extremely fun regardless, and it is still one of my favorite teams that I run. On to the final character of the day, Jingliu. Jingliu is a 5-star ice destruction character and is voiced by the incredible Amelie. Yes, I know that isn't related to gameplay, but this is my channel. I get to mention it if I want to mention it. Jingliu is seeing a slew of buffs coming up that should drastically improve her current place in the meta. As I've made mention of a few times, I've already talked about Jingliu and her buffs, so we'll run through things very quickly. Jingliu is now a full HP scaling character, who wants to enter her enhanced form ASAP. This will grant her an enhanced skill and blast damage capabilities. Once entering this form, your goal is to keep it for as long as possible. This can be done by having your teammates lose HP, or gaining your ultimate. Jingliu also now gains additional stacks of crit damage when her allies lose HP, really making her enhanced form stand out. The final thing of note to eagle-eyed Jingliu players, she now gains another stack of Syzygy when transforming, rather than starting with 2. This is a really nice change, and will make maintaining the form way easier. Jingliu is going to be in a pretty unique spot, since she's still going to be worse than the top of the top HP scalers, but she's not going to be bad anymore either. These changes also mean her synergy with Blade can go to new heights altogether. She's a very fun character, and can be a great addition to most accounts. So, you should pull Jingliu if you have another HP scaling character. Most HP scalers can work very well together, or, at the very least, make for really fun lineups. You should pull Jingliu if you have solid action advancers or trivia available, or, last but not least, you just want an HP scaling character in general, since that archetype is still at its strongest. Now, before we wrap up, there is the matter of characters and like cones on these banners. In the second half warp, your available characters will be Hanya, Luca, and Lynx. Most of these characters are very, very mediocre, truth be told, with at least the Lynx and Hanya providing some benefit to Fäon. As for the characters during their update, yeah, there is not much to use here. The light cones for this half of the update, however, are significantly better options. With Jingliu no longer scaling on attack, a Secret Vow is a good pickup for her without her signature cone or Mighties to make use of. Also available is Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat, one of the best Nihility cones in the game. If you are an avid Fugue, Pela, Silverwolf, Cypher, or Gwenhyphen user, this cone can be extremely helpful at S5 to increase your team's damage. Even if you don't like any of the signature cones available, there is genuinely some merit to pulling to get these options. And with all that said, we are finally done for today. This took a lot of work, and even then, I did cut some corners to get this out in time. I really hope you guys still enjoyed though, and tell me who you're going to be pulling for in 3.4. Or if you're skipping to go for our Queen Hycelins in 3.5. I have plenty more good content coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye bye!